2025. Happy St. Patrick's Day.
That's all.
We have
It's
two
fine,
green.
don't
I don't know what's going on with Lisa, but no green. She'll be pinched later.
I know, I've gone all day.
Okay, so we have a quorum, everybody's here. Let's do, can I call on you again?
Of course.
To do the invocation, and then we'll follow that on the pledge. And the MILSAP student as well.
Yeah.
The MILSAP student as well.
Oh, yes.
We have two that recently passed.
Okay.
Yes.
Dear Lord, we thank you for your blessings for this evening, bringing us here together. God, we thank you for the district, all the families, the teachers, staff, students, Lord, all that comprise DISD. So blessed, so grateful for all that we have, Lord. And God, just first off, we bring before you these families that have lost, and these communities that have lost children. Can't imagine what the emotions, the things that they're feeling. God, I pray that, God, right now you would be that source of strength when all things look bleak. God, help them to feel comfort, help them to deal with the grief, Lord, in only a way that you can. God, I pray that you just provide strength for the immediate families as well as the friends and all those close to, and just help them, God, through this grieving process. We agree together and trust that you will be there for them in this very tough time, Lord. And God, we just ask tonight for your guidance throughout the course of the meeting. I pray for your direction, I pray for wisdom, guidance, clear thoughts, ease of expression, and the ability to process the items on the agenda, Lord, and work to the best possible outcome, Lord. In your name we ask it. Amen.
If there's ever anybody else that wants to lead us in prayer, let me know. I know Ben has done it for us a couple of times, but if anybody enjoys that, feels comfortable doing it, please let me know. We'll put somebody else in the hot seat except for Derek having to do it every time. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, do we have anyone for citizen participation?
No one signed up.
Yes, I don't know if it would be better to speak right now, or if we should, like, if I should wait until it gets to that time on that action items, but do you think would be better if it's brought up, and, because it might answer some of the questions I already have?
Are you gonna speak on that calendar?
Yes.
Okay, I think now's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, fine, go ahead.
I just have, well, I'm not sure exactly what, calendar is being presented, do we know that already?
They know.
Okay. That would help me.
Well, they calendar, the hybrid calendar.
The hybrid option, the 184 contract one?
Yeah.
Okay. So I had some questions on it. I didn't know, like how that was decided, if that was something that could be answered, like what calendars were being. I know that it was given to us, and teachers were supposed to vote on it, and within like a 24-hour period, so I know some people didn't vote on it. But I didn't know how the two were picked. I know the last time we kind of had discussed it, we mentioned having like a committee meeting about it, and then we didn't have a committee meeting about it, and so I was curious.
We have a calendar committee, and you had a
Right.
4-day-week committee. There were two different committees, and so we do have a calendar committee. and it
The
was
DEIC
the
committee?
DEIC committee.
Right, I asked about that, I had sent an email and asked about it, was told we have one, and then we didn't have one.
I think an email went out.
No, as far as I'm,
Well,
no one
anyway,
in the middle school campus was.
the calendar was voted on by every teacher in the district that had the opportunity to vote.
Okay, so that's what I'm asking, I'm on that DEIC committee meeting, and so I had asked when we would have it to kind of come up with the calendars, because the only two calendars that were presented was one of the 4-day one, and then one that's basically what we have right now currently. So that's why I was wondering where that committee had come from, because we didn't have a committee meeting. I know that a few people were asked to come over, some teachers were asked, but I know that it wasn't a DEIC committee meeting.
So after the February meeting where we discussed this, there was not is it DEIC
Yes, ma'am.
meeting?
As as far as I know, I'm on it, and I wasn't sent an email about it. I know nobody else on campus, on my campus anyways, that's on, in the community.
Usually the DEIC committee just gives suggestions and things like that. And so we had 2 meetings, but we didn't have one after you sent me the email. We did.
Right, after
have
the school
one.
board meeting.
But usually they just give suggestions on different things.
Right.
And usually, in years past, it's just gone to the teachers, you know, the faculty to vote
To vote on.
on.
So just like a few people come up with their calendars and then send them out, or how does that work? I must be mistaken, I thought that we would have the committee meeting, and that's just where I'm confused at. So is it just a few?
I did not bring it in here with me, but I did a little research on 4-day schools.
Okay,
And I will tell you that 2 different studies that were made, both of them said that teachers loved it, and that, it was a little more cost effective, but you had to accept the fact that test scores went down. And in all good faith, when it said test scores went down, and 2 different ones, the RAND one and the one from Commissioner of Education, both said that it did affect test scores, compared it to COVID. Now, I didn't vote when it went out, but if I had voted, I would have not voted for less instructional days. I know the minutes are what counts, but it's still, if you put all those minutes together with the attention span that some of our kids have, I just think it was not something that I felt comfortable with. But like I said, I truly did not vote, I didn't cast a vote. But, my recommendation would have been, after reading that, said test scores were down.
Right.
In the 4-day schools. Commissioner of Education said that very plainly. So, and 2, you know, this all happened very quickly before the last board meeting. I think this kind of thing is something that you need to have over a longer period of time. Certainly when you asked to come to the board meeting, I would never tell you no, that you couldn't come to a board meeting and present anything. But I just think that it didn't give us enough time. One of the calendars you submitted was, didn't have quite enough minutes. It was unclear whether there were enough minutes. I didn't look at that one real closely. The other one that was presented, I think it had 160 something work days. I can't remember. It was like 16 less work days.
So currently at the moment, we're at 187.
Well, this year we were at 187.
Okay.
If you notice that there's a place in here that I've asked you to change that.
for the 3 days, for the 184.
Yeah, to 184.
Right.
Which is still 3 more days of teachers not reporting. And when we have in-service days, you always know that we say, you know, come in at 8:30, leave a little early. It's not a full beach over the head work day. I know that it sounds good, but when it said test scores went down,
Yeah, I wouldn't have continued to pursue it if I would have looked and saw that test scores went down, because what I had found didn't say that. So
Well,
I know that
it
it
took
kind
me
of depends
about-
on their research.
yeah,
that's
well,
found.
this was a commissioner study
Right.
and the RAND Corporation study, two studies, and they were recent, and they said test scores were affected.
Yeah, I looked at some research, and then I also looked at some different schools that were already 4 days, and just trying to look at on the paper to see what it had said. But I wouldn't have continued to pursue it if I didn't feel like I had a backing, like I mean, you'll hear a lot from me, I'm sure y'all are hearing from me, but I know I'm constantly being reached out to in person and over text by several different teachers that either just can't make it to these meetings or are too afraid to speak out, or just more introverted than I am and know that I'm not gonna speak up, or know that I will speak up about it for them. But I wouldn't have continued to pursue it if we didn't have 83% of staff that voted for it, and then 70% of the community that voted for it. It seems to really want it, and the staff, that wasn't even just teachers, the teachers was over 95% that had wanted it, and like I said, I know that we're well above our test scores, and that I know as a teacher that I can still maintain those test scores.
I believe that you could.
I'm
I
confident in my
absolutely
colleagues.
believe you could.
Right,
But I don't think that everyone can, even though I think we have great teachers. But COVID effects are still here with us. I hear teachers all the time, in the elementary school especially, saying how much more difficult it is with our younger kids. And I just don't see less days with them.
so is this like the presentation with 83% of the staff that was so for the 4 days?
Okay, you're
does
saying
it count?
83% of the staff at your school.
At De Leon ISD, I sent it out to the entire, that's including the hourly, that was wanting to go 4 days. I don't know the results of this one, I haven't got to see it, I don't know if you all have seen the results of this.
The calendar was sent out, it was close, but it was, 52%, I believe, or something like that, 54%.
What was the other one, just for information's sake, how many days did the other one have?
170, I did print it off.
I have,
And so you send two versions of the calendar and then all teachers vote on it?
yes.
And so I don't know, like I said, I didn't see the results of this one, I just know out of 83% of staff that's voting for it, 95% of the teachers that were for it, it's hard to believe that they all of a sudden voted for basically a 5-day one after the 4-day one, you know? And I talked to 35 to 40 teachers, and every single one that I spoke to voted for the Mondays off one and not the 184 one, so I just didn't, I was just
Well,
curious to see the
I didn't
numbers.
bring them Monday one, Paul.
I'm gonna speak for my campus, and I'll just say, because I really do value everything you have brought to the DIC meeting, you brought to this committee. I do think it is something definitely, I mean, pursuing the future. I do agree with what Dr. Merrill said. I feel like part of it, like when the initial email was sent out, I don't think anyone really knew anything. Basically, it was, the first question is, would you like a 4-day week? Yes, everybody, that sounds good. So I do think there was a lot, because then I was just bombarded with all these questions. I was like, well, I don't even know. And I think that that's where the communication was a breakdown, is that I didn't really know enough to even communicate with the teachers of, well, this is what we're talking about. So I do think that moving forward, I think that getting together early on, like she said, and really having hammered out, I will say I do probably have the largest amount of paras on my campus and hourly workers. And I think they were all against it. And I think that because they also had the support of a lot of the teachers, they did not want to see them, it were just questions that were unanswered. Like, I feel like if we had had longer to work on it and to get together and like starting early in the school year and have all those things ironed out, I think it probably would have looked different on my campus.
Yeah.
And I think that's why that they did not. It was close, it wasn't like miles apart,
Right.
but
I do know 4 paraprofessionals on your campus were very strongly for it, and I didn't have any paraprofessionals vote against it on my 4-day one, but like you said, there was probably a lot of questions. In the calendar that I had sent out, the minutes were not something that I was trying to include, and that was what I thought the DEIC committee, like, that was what that was for, was to kind of iron
That
out
was
the
gonna
minutes.
be my question,
So-
is the meeting that you thought that they were going to have was going to iron out those
Yes,
questions
that-
that
so
everybody
the-
else had? that-
Right, the calendar that I've been creating was not something that was immediately supposed to be
Right,
sent
y'all
out.
were supposed to
Because
talk
I
about
know that it's up to the principals to decide the start time and end time, and I didn't wanna decide that for each campus. So I was just trying to put some days in there, and then I thought at the committee meeting is when we would kinda say, okay, here's our start time, so we need to add a day here, we could take a day here, or whatever we needed to do. I was just trying to give them Mondays off, or Fridays off, or Mondays and Fridays, whatever we needed. So the minutes thing was not something that I was trying to think ahead of. I thought we would have another meeting to be able to do something like that.
These two versions are very, 170 and 184, that's very different. That's a lot of days.
There are a lot of days.
Okay, so the one that we're looking at is 3 days less than what we did this last year.
What's the legend? The green is what, blue is red?
Okay, so green, here, look at this. This is I brought my cheat sheet.
Red's holiday.
Yeah, red is a legitimate holiday that everybody gets out.
Blues are staff
Blues are
development, it looks
staff.
like. Greens are staff development / comp days, it looks like student holidays.
Do you want to even further back?
Later.
I will speak for my campus. When it first came out, a lot of teachers really excited about it. Because if you tell a teacher, hey, you're fixing to work less, fantastic, they're gonna say yes. However, if you say, by the way, it could impact not just your salary, but that person that's working with you salary too, and that question was never answered, is what and how does it actually impact our hourly employee? And that was when I gave you feedback to Kinsey, and I welcome her, and I appreciate her starting this ball,
Yeah,
because I think for
that's
some.
where community got hung up, was
So-
on hourly workers.
Some school districts, it works for them, some school districts it doesn't. And I agree with Ms. Womack, it's not something you can do quickly. It needs to be a thoughtful process, and people need information, because otherwise, you say, hey, you're gonna get these days all off, because the initial survey, that's what the impression, at least from the people that came to me, is we get every Friday off. My response is, all right, so think about our spring, how do you do spring with one less day every week in those students? That's just speaking on my campus, that's the campus, there's too much involved. I said, but they can iron it out, I think it's fantastic, because it makes it fit for the district, it makes it fit. But I think that's something that it needs a lot of time to talk through it and bring a lot of people around the table to get it done.
So I think I think it was in your data, it said something about, how people felt when they got it and then it got taken away. And it was like, it was horrifying, after you had 4 days and it got taken away from you. And so I definitely, so that's kind of what it sounds like there when you're talking about that, it's like, yeah, it sounds really, really good. Well, what if you got that test scores and then it had to be taken away? So I'm assuming then, if we're talking about kind of baby steps, so we're taking 3 days away, and then it'll be on the table for possibly some more.
Absolutely.
Because there's a lot of space between, in my mind, between 170 and 184.
There's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot of days.
Give to district money.
Yeah, that's a lot of days.
It's not getting paid for a full year, which is fine, you know, professional days are professional days, it would be everybody, including me. But, of course, I worked last week, so I'm just strange. I do value what you said, and I truly believe, Kinsey, that you would get the same results. Because I know you, and I know how hard you teach. But I don't know if you could go to first grade and do it. Yeah, that's the thing, we're really still fighting that battle of kids that didn't have that jump start. And they stayed home with parents and they, weren't out in public. We just see it, and I read it all the time. But when I went online and started asking about it, the first 2 I got back was the Rand Corporation, and it said, it's great, you know, it does cost less, teachers love it, but along with it comes lower, it didn't say significant, it said lower test scores. The commissioner said that right up front, and he said that like 2 or 3 weeks ago. His comment was really brand new, and you probably wouldn't have seen it when you did the research. The Athens people never got back to me. I called and called and called, and they would not return my calls.
Yeah, I did see that the commissioner is, against it, he had done a voucher or something that was taking away some of the days, which wouldn't affect us, but I could see that, yeah, he was against that, so that's not surprising.
Well, he is our boss. He is our boss.
When we vote here in a little bit, is there a specific number of days, or is that an open, how is that worded on there? I don't think I saw a specific.
The number of days for it's on the calendar, yeah, it's the calendar that.
Okay, so I'm referring to not approving the calendar, I'm referring to 6.3, where we reduce the contract days. Is there a specific number of days that you're gonna say on that? You're gonna match them?
Did I not put the number? It's back to 180, what did I say? 184.
Okay, so what's on that calendar?
It's 3 days
Okay,
less.
okay, all right, and so then I'm assuming from this discussion that in the future, there's a possibility of maybe 4 days, maybe 5 days.
Absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely.
Okay.
But I just think we have to do baby steps right now.
Does that help to kind of answer some of those questions? It may not be exactly what you want to hear, I completely understand that. But I am very happy that everyone's willing to discuss it and kind of move forward and say, okay, did it work with 3 days less? Can we make a little bit more, a bigger bite, and kind of see how it goes? instead of having to go in reverse and then add days on. I definitely don't wanna do that after we've cut back.
I have just some food for thought. I talked to, one of my friends from Comanche, and she kind of heard that we were discussing this, and she told me, I really hope that passes, because I would consider moving my kids to Gilliam. So, I mean, I know that obviously we said this year, I'm just saying, she really said she would consider bringing them here, because she liked the idea so much.
I would hope
They're
that
really great
I would
families.
hope she would want to move her kids here because of our academics, not because they're having more days off.
Well, I think it just fits with their lifestyle better.
I said the same thing about the teachers, like hiring process. I've been on like hiring committees for DLM for several years now. And I'm always so surprised that we don't have more people wanting to apply. Our pay is great and the kids are great, and we have great test scores and we're A-rated campuses. We have all of this that has never made sense why we don't have very many people apply here. And then a lot of people that I talk to that are teachers here now or that teach other places, that is a big thing that they bring up, and it's so surprising because we have so many positives here. But I do see that being a thing in the future of not just kids, but also people wanting to come because of those days, that we would have more than one applicant per person, you know, having to apply this position, so, yeah.
Okay. Well, we appreciate that information, Kinsey, and thank you for doing all that work and research. I know that was a long time. Okay. Let's move to, the consent agenda. Approval of minutes of the previous meeting. I think no one had any changes, correct? Okay. Comparison of revenue to budget.
Well, we're pretty much on target. Half the year's gone, we've spent 51% and we've collected 61%, so, everything's going well. Remembering that teachers accrue their salaries, we accrue it for them so they get paid all summer, so.
Okay, and then the tax collection report.
Still that time of year where we're getting sizable collections, $691,403.50 since the last time.
Anybody have any questions about any of that? Okay, if not, then I'm looking for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve this presented.
All those in favor? Okay. Okay, sorry, were you gonna say
I
something?
was going to tell you, we have no donations and gifts this time.
Okay. Okay, so, campus reports and program reviews. Do you want to?
I have a very short list. It's that time that you want to say boring. It's not boring to teachers, but it's that time where everybody says no sound and they are teaching. So we're definitely at crunch time, getting ready for STAR, which will quickly be approaching. I think our first test date is April the 9th. So, everyone's, that will be our language arts, so everyone's really working hard, getting students out of spring break fever, back into academic mode. We have all our telepass testing is complete. We did that before we left for spring break. Next week, we will be starting STAR Alt. The window opens this week, but we will not test until next week. Second grade went on a fun field trip before we left for spring break. They went to, the science museums. I think they had a really good time. We had a great dress-up week, reading across America. We had a good competition with
That was
teachers.
amazing.
It was really cute. So we had a little competition with teachers for best dress. And that's pretty much it. We are just really trying to get things done and lots to do in a little time.
Yeah, that was really good, and the fact that you can put it on social media and that, you know, people in the community, all of a sudden are like, what is this? And just seeing how into it that they get, and then they get to interact with the voting.
It was really cute.
They really
enjoyed it too. I thought it was nice.
And it was dark this morning when we
It
started
was
school.
dark, it was dark, but
That was different.
So, From a principal's perspective, I'm very excited because I have completed all T-test appraisals, and for principals, that's a really big milestone. So now we're just finishing up their other TIA observations. We're really excited. I'm gonna steal some of Mr. Miller's thunder, but we have 45 7th and 8th grade band students that are going to be in the inaugural Cisco Band Festival, and that will be on the 19th. So it'll be kind of quiet on the campus. We might have a few drills that day, just saying. It'll help get us in and out quickly.
That did get
It
us
will.
recorded, you know.
Yes. Just kidding. Just kidding. Just kidding. We won't do it that day. We'll do it the next day. So we had some really fun things, and we had our first parent-family engagement night. We had Bingo, and it was well supported. We had 60 parents and students in the Cupcat Den, and we had nachos, didn't we? That was his dinner that night, and it was fun. We played until there were no prizes, and we finally had to say we gotta go home. But they had a great time, and we finally got to have our spring dance. It was well turned out. We had some interesting dance moves on the floor, so as always with 6th grades, it's always entertaining. And then we sent our kids off on a dodgeball game home. We did do instruction in there, I do promise you that. So, but we needed a little bit of a tension break, because when they go hard, they go hard, they go hard. And that last day, you're just holding on to that thread, and you give them something with the dodgeball. You put that ball in their hand, and all that tension just kind of leaves, and they go home on a fun day. But our teachers were getting ready for STAR. We start April 8th and 9th, the 15th and 16th, and the 23rd and 29th. And then we do our MAPS testing following that. So our little junior high brains are going to be tested out by May 16th. So, but we're looking good. The teachers are working hard getting the data done. I know that we all stress, like we all believe, like if I could just have one more week, I know they'll be ready. But I think the kids are feeling that a little bit of stress and that anxiety moment. So we're trying to kind of let them be kids and do the fun things, like with the band trip. We know we should be getting ready for that, but they've got to do the other things. They're still competing in some of their act shows, and that's a very important part of their life as a junior high student. So, but we're doing really well. We're aiming strong. We want that mastery to continue on there. We're very competitive, and we like being competitive, so gets us going.
Okay, well, rock, paper, scissors, take away from winning dodgeball.
All right, so we all kind of covered some of the stuff. Here's high schools. So we are we finished Topaz, obviously. We finished our dual credit midterms, went really smooth, despite having some Wi-Fi outages in the middle of some of them. Ms. Harris did a fantastic job in this ball game, making sure all that went smooth. We're gearing up for the ELC. I've sent some teachers, a handful of teachers, various content and ELC teachers to various professional development opportunities with Lead Forward, the Service Center, and then also the curriculum. T-Test and TIA, we are not 100% done, but we're really daggone close. I think we have 5 formal left. So 2 of which are out on maternity leave right now. So as of right now, we have 7 out of our 11 teachers that have TIA distinction. Some highlights of recent competitions. We had an ag mechanics team go down to Austin the first weekend of spring break. It was very much a learning opportunity. Some of those trailers were $60,000 to $80,000 of materials. Ours is not. However, our kids learned a lot from that opportunity. They're actually going to bring that trailer back. They brought it back, make some adjustments to it. I think they're going to enter in blend, which is another competition. So fantastic program right there. And then also we'll present next month. I'll give you all the updates on all the successes we've had in regards to our stock shows. We're wrapping those up right now. Esports team will start their competitions this Friday, and 1-act play advanced to by district. So we do have 2 field trips coming up. We have a leadership field trip that is every one of our class officers, our officers in National Honor Society, student council. It comes to about, I think we're 20-ish some odd kids. We're gonna take them down to Austin. We got a tour of the Capitol. Mr. Burleson's got some connections down there, so we've got a kind of behind the scenes tour. And then we're gonna drop into the Bob Moore Museum and let them tour of that as well, which is a fantastic museum. You'll see all of Texas history. Maroon Platoon is going to Top Golf at the end of the month, and they're doing a physics lesson that associates with that as well. The next 2 pages I've given you, those are just tentative dates of the things that are coming down at the high school between now and the end of the year. So when I say the high school is busy, this is what we're talking about, and busy, okay? And on top of that, we found out today that our final exams for our dual credit kids fall same time we're giving the end of course exam for algebra. So we'll have to make some adjustments to our plan on that, for that testing day. But then there's all those dates. We also want to highlight, Ms. Avenshine as, she gives the community health worker, industry-based certification. We had 15 kids that achieved that. So she'll be sending that off and making sure all that information is put in there for their certifications.
Tell us about, Bass Club. I saw on the
Oh,
paper.
Bass Club. Oh, yeah, I forgot about Bass Club. Well, Bass Club, we have 2 teams that compete on all the things. They compete, end of the month. If they catch a fish, they will advance. Right now, we have 1 of the 2 teams that has qualified, as long as nothing changes. But we need them to go and catch some fish. It's in Brownwood, so I talked to them today. They're pretty excited about that. They were just at OH Ivy, which is a tough lake. They really restrict them on the type of fish, on the type of bass, and then also the length and all that kind of stuff. So that was a tough one. Last year was a tough one for this year. However, we did have one of our students that got the big bass. So he actually got the big bass award for catching the biggest bass on the OH Ivy, and he caught it with about 5 minutes left, 10 minutes left
Oh, wow.
in regulation. So,
That was great.
Clutch.
She said, freshman.
So a big paper, big fish.
hold on, bring it next.
I want to start with the security part. March 25th, Dr. Marvel, myself, Mike will be attending. I guess you'll be sort of go with me, and Mike is going to go with us. We're going to go to Homeland Security and Cybersecurity Infrastructure Agency. They partnered with the Texas School Safety Center, and they're going to talk cybersecurity, and they're going to do tabletop exercises. During this, they're going to talk about our cybersecurity plans, and that's the one that we worked on this year to send to the Texas School Safety Center. They sent it back, we sent it back, they sent it back, wet signature, we sent it back, but they have accepted ours. And so we'll be right there talking to some of the ones that have not been accepted. Then one of the other things they're gonna talk about is the district vendor management plan and district communications annexes, and I think that's gonna be next summers that we have to work on. So we'll get kind of a head start maybe on those kind of things. And so I don't know anything about these, so it'd be fun just to hear what they're looking for. I'd like to invite everybody to our our spring school safety and security team meeting Wednesday, March 26th. March 26th for our school safety and security team meeting, 4 o'clock in the high school library. Please mark your calendars, come up with us. It's posted on our website, so if you forget, you can go on there and look on our postings. The elementary and the high school both have had their external door audits now from TEA. We're still waiting at the middle school to have ours.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. And there has been no findings. Everything has been absolutely wonderful. We're Fort Knox, and we love every minute of it. So we're gonna keep going. We're going. We're checking every week. We're working hard.
And the last one came when the power was out on half of our school district.
Yes, and we had a person manning the front door if you came to the high school, and they look at the office and they get a yes, and then we go into the door, or we said, and we go out, and it was just crazy. We managed, yeah, we did well. As for the band, Kathy said the junior high and the high school are all gonna go to Cisco. This will be the first time we've taken the junior high. We used to take them a long time ago to do solos, but we've never played junior high on stage. But with the addition of Maddie, we can actually do this now. So we've combined 7th and 8th grade, got about 45 of us going. They've got a great concert to put on. They get a chance to actually go from stage and then go into sight reading like the high school has to do for UIL. And since One Act Play bumped us, because we would have went to UIL prior to spring break, but we're gonna go April 3rd on a Thursday. So we're gonna take the high school and get some feedback, how we can get a little bit better before we go to UIL and use it as a clinic for us. So we're really excited about taking both groups that day. And the week after spring break, what kind of crazy band director does that? But anyway, so that's gonna be this Wednesday. Um, 12 students competed in the UIL solo and ensemble. 11 of those were rated a first division at UIL, and 4 of them qualified to go to All-State this year. 3 seniors and a sophomore. The seniors were Zaylin Bain, Logan Sherrard, and Laura Spurman, and the sophomores Elena Bennett. And so took her, and you want to see a sophomore glow because she's such a quiet, shy little young lady, and she's just blossomed and just lives in the band hall now, and I love every minute of it. So anyway, we're pushing hard towards the end of the year, just like everybody else.
This has nothing to do with academics, but yeah, I did go to the job fair, yeah, on Monday.
Charlton?
Yeah, it was really
I
nice.
will make sure that that's done every year.
Did y'all do like a table and you had like some signage and all the
I bought a
things?
backdrop, and then they put us against the wall,
And
and wouldn't let me hang it up.
Is that really well attended by people?
It was. It was.
So
I think there was, I estimated, what do we think, about 70 schools
There's
there?
about 70 schools
Or
there.
a lot.
The only ones that were kind of geographically near us were Stephenville and Dalton. So I think it was relative. We were able to bring home 3 or 4 good applications to put in our file. One was the Spanish teacher.
Very good.
So you can get ahold of people before others can there.
Totally. I thought it was really nice. Because we went to the earlier one, and it was just a job fair, and that was not good at all. I mean, it was just too random. I mean, I think we were the only school there, but the other.
this is the one we should go to.
Yeah, it was very nice.
That's good. That's our very first time to go, right?
Charlton Kids
Remember?
game was
It's the first time I've been.
Yeah.
This wasn't the all majors, this was just education. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, that's
I guess so important, whether you need people or not, you just recruit and get your name out there.
That was nice.
Miss Nellen, do you have anything you'd like to add?
Well, we're still in the planning process for our RPEP and our PTEC. It's just a long process on the planning, but it's going well. And other than that, we're just spending our entitlements away, like we're supposed to. And we'll just start applying again soon and do compliance reports and different things for with funding.
I'm looking at her TIA application.
TIA application, yes, that's a process, even for the ones that, have earned designations for this time. But we will do our modification application on the 15th of this month if we're gonna add any teaching positions to that. We'll do it, and there's a couple of them, they have moved from one position to another. We'll make that change. We'll have to get that position in our application, modification application. And every year we add something to it.
Do you have to, after someone gets TIA, that there's that guaranteed 5-year window, do you have to turn something in on that teacher every year, turn in like that?
Yes, we do on all the teachers that their class is, their grade, I guess their course is, for designation. Then we have to, every year, we do these teachers, whether they want to participate in the, TIA or not. They have to have their observation, and we put everything in. We just don't, we put
And you
no
wouldn't-
designation.
And you wouldn't necessarily have to, but what they tell you is if you don't have enough data submitted,
Mhm.
so if all those that get it don't turn in any data for the next 4 or 5 years, then those trying to get it
Right,
won't be able to get it because there's not enough data.
Oh, okay.
so we put
So,
it on.
they're
Do you
all
get
in.
anything for, like, if you have, between the 3 campuses, if you have a certain number of teachers that get TIA, does our district get anything?
We just hope they keep sending the money.
Yeah, they keep sending the money. But I usually, at the end of, when I send it in, I usually run the scatter plot, because that's
She's good at that.
to see if everything is in line, whether their growth is in line with their observation, and if not, I have to have an explanation. But usually, the past 2 years, our scatter plot has been really, really nice. It was a nice trend. And so so it's, I always feel safe to send it.
There is a bill that supports TI for the future and actually increases the amount that teachers will be receiving fairly significantly.
It's very nice.
Okay. Facility projects update?
Well, mainly it's just ongoing maintenance right now. We are, if any of you have little kids that have participated in anything at the old gym lately, you know that the plumbing does not work very well over there. So we've been trying to get some people to give us some prices on fixing it so that we can flush the toilet more than one time and during a ball game. And, because it flushes great the first time, but maybe not the second or third. So anyway, we're working on that, getting additional bids for, proposals for the elementary gym restrooms, because that's still there, and just, other than that, nothing on our wish list, just keeping everything up to date and clean, and light bulbs fixed, and ceiling tiles redone.
Have you gone to the softball back there yet?
Yes, I have, and it's great.
That's nice.
Thank you.
I've had
And thank
lots
you
of
very
compliments.
much for making sure that the softball scoreboard is now working again. I know things got stolen and it's working now, so I
Good.
appreciate that.
Well, it
Sounds
was,
like they're doing very well.
partly the weather. It was partly the weather, the back of it, something burned out, and then we couldn't find the controls. But I think
It's working, so yay.
that's good, that is good, because some of the people are not real reliable that keep score in the stands. Especially when it's tied, a bunch to a bunch.
Yeah.
But anyway, everything's going well, and the fields look nice, they really do, our baseball and softball fields, and I've had many people say how wonderful it is to have restrooms. And it's wonderful to still have the ones in the outfield working, because people that park out there have access to
Yeah, it
those
looks like
too.
they can cover back up whatever
Yeah.
they were digging around on.
So
they
it's
got
really
that.
working well.
Board training opportunities, do we know yet about our spring?
It is going to be in May. I'm not exactly sure the dates, but it will be, as soon as I know, I'll get that word out. There is one in May. There's one in Dublin, but I think,
I don't wanna go to Ebony, but I don't wanna go to Dublin.
I know our Dublin one is
The Ebony one was good.
not well received last time, so.
It's just a smaller group, you have more people than
Yeah.
Ebony.
So, there is gonna be, and it's like May the 9th, there's something somewhere in there. I'm not exactly quite sure, but anyway, I'll let you know.
All right, well, let's move to the action item. 6.1 is the consideration, well, we're gonna skip that one. We don't have any donations and gifts this time. So somebody needs to go out and.
Well, we'll have a lot next time, because it is that time of year for people to start donating for scholarships and things, so we'll have a lot.
Okay, so this is the 6.2, consideration approval of the 25-26 calendar. And that is this, hybrid option with the 184 contract days. And I tried to compare it and figure out where I thought the days had been added in.
What's different?
I think that it is an additional day on spring break, am I right? And, an additional day on
Thanksgiving.
I thought that, but this one has that day already there, we already have that. I don't know where they snuck it in at. How many days do you have for Christmas?
It may be comp days.
12?
If it was a comp day, it wouldn't be a day off.
That's right. I don't know.
It's 17 days off for Christmas.
I think there's additional comp day in spring, if I remember.
Okay.
Been a while since I looked at that.
And then January 6th,
I think one of them was right before.
okay, let me ask this question. Oh, never mind, I'm not asking that question. I got it here. I thought that meant, that light blue, got it, okay. I thought you were gonna make us go to school on the 18th, 19th, and 22nd.
That's not the.
That's the staff. Okay. All right. Okay, any questions about the calendar? Okay.
So for clarity, as far as like, if you wanna have this more discussion about how it's all gonna work out, when do you need to start having that discussion, so it's not rushed for next year?
Probably now,
Yeah, probably after we approve this one, then that process needs to get rolling.
in the
for-
fall, when we come back. I just think that it was too soon, to make sure we had all the minutes and all the bases covered. And I will just tell you, as long as it says that it hurts test scores, which means learning, I just don't see us going there until we can prove that less work days for teachers.
Yeah, I definitely think it goes back to that conversation that we had at that last board meeting where we were talking about an actual high, like it can't be called a 4-day week, and it can't be, I mean, this one is really, I don't know if y'all have seen that, the other version. Like that first, we discussed that the first half of the year would be left alone. But then you can't do that because after spring break, you must be in attendance all 5 days for all of April for testing and at least the first half of May for testing, so it's getting a little bit hairy.
The spring we always think that fall is busy until spring rolls around,
Yeah.
and spring is so busy, especially the secondary schools, the middle school, and then the high school is just nonstop. I heard a parent the other day say that their child was not gonna be in school, but over a two-week period, they're only going to class one day because of sports and ag and whatever. They just weren't, and they're good students, they were, and they're not, but how hard it was to try to keep up with everything because of all the days that they're missing already. So, anyway, spring is a nightmare for, making sure everybody gets instructed.
Did y'all happen to look up Comanches, how many days they're on? I haven't looked on their website lately, how many days they're actually attending.
I didn't, all we did was talk to the ones that
Reported.
that voted against it.
Well, I was thinking about, you were talking about that Comanche family, and I mean, that would make sense that it would be a close vote, because Dublin and Comanche have talked about this, and they haven't been able to, so Comanche couldn't figure out their hourly people. Dublin could, their teachers voted against it,
That's what I was told.
or it was the parents or the teachers, one, anyways,
Comanche-
they tried to do that and it got voted out.
I know Comanche
Were they ever-
teachers, we were told Comanche teachers voted against it because they were told even salary would be reduced because on their district innovation plan, it didn't allow them to reduce the number of days like ours does. So
Yeah, they're not that's right, so it is definitely a benefit to be a district innovation. Okay, so, sorry, Rachel, I think I interrupted you, so for clarity purposes, you said that you'll start the process sooner, with the idea that maybe you can shave even more, a couple more days off. As long as you don't get into a true 4-day situation. Is that,
Well, I don't even, we'd add that caveat.
No.
I'm not averse to 4-day week, I'm just averse to it affecting learning.
But if you've got kids already, they come one day in 2 weeks, and I know that's an extreme.
That is an extreme.
Extreme one, but it looks like a 4-day week would facilitate, maybe they wouldn't miss that much class.
Well,
I'm talking
I know
about.
several high school students said that an extra day would be beneficial to them to catch up on the work that they missed on
Well,
those days.
years ago, in spring break, there were districts that instead of taking spring break, they take off every Friday, which really facilitated athletics. And,
The 4-day week that I said was just a junior high campus it allowed them to go do their activities. They were all rodeo ropers, all that, it allowed them to go do their activities. They were ag students as well, which made them miss minimal days. And like I said, our scores went up, they went up significantly.
Well, I just wanted to make sure that like when someone does put forth all the effort that she put forth, that it was really and thoroughly talked about, as the administration really talk about that, and they really listen to what, because a lot of people, it generated a lot of buzz, and now I've heard a lot of people say that they would like to have that. And so just wanna make sure that that conversation is forthcoming, and that we don't ever quash anybody's ideas of new, innovative, different things to try. that they're allowed to bring those forth always. So,
Well said. Looking for that motion.
I'll make the motion to approve the 2025-26 calendar, 184 country.
Yeah, that's fine, say that. Wait for a
Strike
second.
he put total together.
Sorry.
Yeah, he combined two and three, but that's okay.
Just clarification.
We're gonna do them both separately, but that's all right. So we've got a motion by Derek to approve 6.2, we're looking for a second.
I'll second
Okay, all those in favor of that calendar? Okay, all those opposed? Okay. You got this one? Okay, 6.3 is the consideration and approval of the professional contract days for 25-26, and that is a reduction of 3 days down to 184.
Well, everybody, so. Like principals are 226.
Oh,
Some
sorry,
people-
sorry.
Some people.
Everyone's,
Yeah.
not just the teachers,
That's why I said
187 days.
professional.
Everyone's professional contract will reduce by 3 days.
And it doesn't affect their bottom line.
No, if y'all approve it,
You can pay the same, correct?
yeah.
Okay.
And that was never considered,
Right.
you know.
But it doesn't affect the hourly.
I will have to adjust it, but I can do that.
So
But-
you're gonna keep them the same interval now?
Yes, but I will have to, it's going to be
A change.
it's gonna be a real nightmare trying to do it, but we can do that, but,
Gonna make it happen?
yeah.
Okay.
Y'all will do that when you approve the budget, how's
Okay.
that? But we will do it, because we have people that don't make very much anyway, especially in that category, so we'll make sure they do not get penalized for it.
Okay.
So their annual numbers stay the same, their hourly will just come up to
The
make
hour-
up for the 3 days.
Yeah, okay.
Remembering that if we raise our hourly rate and we ever went back,
It stays up, it stays
Well,
up.
hasn't Austin said that they could possibly do away with anybody going 4 days
yes,
a week?
yes, that was
There was a bill presented.
last year,
Was that
2
last
years
year?
ago, and 2 years
Okay,
ago.
I just
There was a bill that made it fairly far along to do away with the 4-day week.
They've also tried to increase the student minutes that would make it very difficult to
Yeah.
have a 4-day week.
When they went from days to minutes, that's when all this confusion happened. And so some people lengthened the school day, and so that they could have more days off. So it's
And we've had a little bit of that,
Yeah,
that district.
but teachers, still are days, professional people are still days,
They're not minutes.
they're not minutes, and so it's really made it confusing. But I think this is a good compromise. I know the ladies that were here just now don't feel like it was a very good compromise,
It
but
wasn't, those two calendars have a huge
there's
difference
a
between
huge
them. Like,
difference,
there's no
hundred
real
and
one.
60, I mean, it's a lot of days.
It is.
And it happened so quickly. I know that they tried to get out a survey to the community. Lots of people commented they didn't get it. I know obviously the guys that wrote the letter to the editor didn't get it. He has no children, he said he's had no children in school, whatever. I know John, I sit behind him in church every Sunday. But I had never mentioned it to him, but he did call me ahead of time before it was in the paper to give me a heads up that he had done it. And I said, well, thank you very much. And he does speak exactly what he thinks all the time, even at church. So, I think that I had a lady stop me, and I still don't know her name. I was over at Brad's exercising at noon one day, and she stopped and said, why would you ever think of doing this? And I was on the treadmill, but anyway, it didn't get out enough. There was not enough community discussion, and I think people get busy and they don't answer their emails and they don't do input, but I think still 3 less days of work.
I know, we
With
can,
the
after
same
all
pay.
that, it's a bit of a, a bit of a downer after all the hype up of it. It's just hard to.
Well, yeah, but like I said, when it said test scores are down, I just, I don't know, that's why we're here.
No, we're not here for test scores.
We're here for
learning.
Well, we're here for learning, but test scores are an indicator that learning has, that learning's not there.
Maybe.
Well, and I agree with you, I think we're testing to death, but it's the law. But,
Speaking of that, I also saw something about getting rid of districts of innovation.
yes, that's the other thing, they think that people are taking advantage of District of Innovation, and they,
Which I thought would impact the
yeah,
calendar.
it will. So, they actually have talked about that. I don't think it has legs, but it might. But, because there's really, the District of Innovation is pretty much, you write it and you send it in and
Yeah, there's really not a lot of.
it's kind of for pressure. Yeah.
And then we can make our amendments as we go along.
Yeah, and a lot of districts are doing that in order to hire non-certified people.
I think that was the big issue.
Yeah, I think I think that was it, but it would do away with a lot of the other
Or as
structures.
John says, those lazy teachers.
No, I didn't say that. I didn't say that, because our teachers are not lazy, they work. But this is still a little, this is 3 days.
Where are we? Did we approve this yet, 6.3?
No,
We're gonna have a
Very-
motion on this?
Derek made the motion with the other one.
Derek, would you like to
I'll
make
do
the
this
motion
one.
again?
I'll second it.
Okay, all those in favor of, 6.3, and one abstain.
I'm stuck.
Oh,
Should I have, no, we did her last time.
no, you're fine.
Okay, 6.4, consideration and approval of the MOU for the RCAP.
Ms. Nellen, you wanna talk about this? It is, I didn't put it, it's not on your computer, it is in your packet. That's why you got a packet today.
We did, send it to our attorney to look at, to see if it was a good MOU, and they sent it back and said it was. Vicki has been putting this together, Hayhurst, at the service center. She's working on the application to send to TEA for this, and this is just our contract with the service center being our third-party entity, and it's, I don't have it here in front of me, but, it's a good MOU, and we just need to have it, approved and signed, so we can go ahead and go through the, RCAP process. Terrell's on that committee with us, so.
So you've read through all that
I've read
and feel
everything,
comfortable
and
in the
your
language?
recommendation, I think it's a great thing.
It is.
Great.
It is.
It's good for our kids.
I do too, I do too, give them some more opportunities.
Yes.
The lawyers.
They said it was a real good one, they did, they sent back and said it was a good one, you know, if we needed to get more specific on some things, we could do that later, but he thought it was very good, you know. And I'm assuming Justine sent theirs to their attorney to look at, because Vicki sent it back. She even talked to TEA a lot on it to make sure we had things in order, so. I feel good about it.
You're looking for a motion on that one?
I'll make a motion
Thank
to
you.
approve.
I'll second.
Thank you. All those in favor? Everyone. And now the consideration and approval of student athletic accident insurance.
Okay, I brought this to you, this is, the one we have this year is, no. Is the, not that one, not the first one, it's the AIG, student accident insurance. It did not increase, it's the same as it was last year. We got another proposal from, Players Health. I have actually, in a former life, had this insurance, and it was good. We are not displeased with AIG. The Players Health is, a little bit cheaper, about $1,000 cheaper for the year. I don't know which one I recommend. I think they're both good. Sometimes it's just as well to stay with the horse you've been riding. And, but we've been with AIG for many, many years. I just don't, and we hadn't been able to get another quote that was comparable, and we did this year. So I just felt like I needed to bring both of them to y'all so that you knew.
Are the claims fairly easy to work with? Or
Yes,
do they have claims for AIG?
they are. Of course, this is one of those things that kicks in after your family insurance does.
Okay.
And so, and if there is no family insurance, then it pays so much, not everything, but it pays so much.
Say that again. You have to turn in your family
Your
insurance.
family insurance pays first.
And then the school
Cause I
insurance
noticed
is
this
second.
doesn't pay much.
No, it does not. Your family insurance pays first, and then this kicks in later. It also includes, like, something while I was looking at this, and I meant to say this to you, that, you know, we had this kid that had his glasses broken.
Yes.
There is actually one of these, I can't remember which one, actually for playground glasses getting broken, they will
You
pay
probably would
something.
enjoy that far better than the.
Yeah. Yeah, was it Players Health? Anyway, so, but it is, this is,
They're
yeah,
both on there.
yeah, it is on the other one too, but the thing that I think is just good to have it for our younger kids, because there is an option just to go with athletics. My recommendation is to go to Premier Plus, which is everybody, field trips, extracurricular, all that
So
stuff.
AIG doesn't offer the full
No, they both do, yeah, they both do, yeah.
school time, okay.
Yeah,
all sports.
school time. It's just the difference between if you, want to go with a new one and save $1,000, or if we want to stay with the people that we've been with and know that. I will tell you, when I was in Longview, they had this kind of insurance. I didn't have much dealings with them, but this is what they had for athletic insurance in Longview. Longview does not have them anymore. Somebody else does, but at that time they did. Because, if anybody have a thought on it?
To me, if you're happy with the one you've got and they're easy to work with, keep them, because you're gonna have to relearn a whole other way of doing paperwork.
Is that a motion?
I'll make a motion, I'll go for it.
This first one you said, like, so it covers kids going on field trips.
Yeah, and the other,
This one doesn't, the second one doesn't.
I think it does.
Oh, that's what I'm trying to ask.
Yeah,
I
it
think it's down
does.
there.
So it doesn't matter, they don't have to be playing sports for this to cover as long as they're,
Absolutely.
okay.
You can play on the playground.
The way I understood it, they're equal against equal.
Yeah.
10th or 12th line there says including coverage for field trips.
Mhm. Yeah. They're fairly equal. One of them pays more here and a little more, but it's, Dr. Boswell said, they don't, either one pay a lot.
Well, to me, it's a supplemental.
It is.
Anyway,
right.
Okay,
Second.
okay, hold on a second.
All right, so.
All those in favor with sticking with the insurance that we, I'm sorry, Rachel.
So I've actually, so before we've had a policy that was meh on my children, and the kids have gotten hurt at school and at Tyson's anyway. So I had to turn in his insurance, and then what it didn't pay, then I asked the school, and the school provided me with theirs, and the schools, it did pay, and it was whatever this other one, cause it's been, it's been a couple of years, but I'm assuming it's the same one it's
It is.
always been.
It is.
So, was it fantastic? No, it's not supposed to be, it's, it did its job though, so.
So you have
As
personal
parent,
experience,
yes.
but good.
Yeah, so when we had this, we've had it for a little while, and Josh was on here, and he had to use it quite a bit for Gage, and he said it did its job.
put Avery.
Yeah, and Avery.
Several
Yeah.
times.
Yeah.
Well, then the motion is to stay with what we have.
Yep,
Cody said
so-
he second.
Yes, all those in favor, to stay with what we've got? That's everyone.
You second.
He made the
You
motion.
second. You
I
made,
made it.
okay.
And Cody seconded.
Yeah, I turned my question into motion.
He made the motion, then I asked the question whether it was.
Okay.
And yeah, that's where we got lost, and then I made the second to carry without telling y'all
Yeah.
over here.
I got it.
Number 7 is personnel. We have the consideration and approval of professional contract for Craig Hopper. You know, he's been with us for a long time for co-op service director. So, a motion on that one.
I'll make a motion to approve the contract with Craig Hopper.
Okay,
I'll second.
okay, all those in favor? That's everybody. Okay, and you all have your, formative evaluation report in front of you to read at your leisure.
It's not very different from the one we got in January.
No. And I think, did you email it to you? No.
No.
So you have a physical copy, you can take home. Okay, we have, items to discuss in closed session, so if someone will,
Make a motion to go into closed session.
Rachel has been that way.
I guess that's what you mean.
I never let Heath have it when he says it at the same time as somebody.
7:03.
I'm gonna work on that.
7:03. There's cookies.